Let's look at Genesis chapter 3, verse 15 right quick. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Now look at verse 16, chapter 3, verse 16. Now to Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not, and to seeds, plural, as of many, but as of one, singular, and to thy seed, which is Christ. Now, like I said, we're not going to take time in this session, but we'll be coming back to this subject and following the seed of the woman and why that term is used concerning Christ. Now, looking back at Genesis 15, at verse 15 again, there's going to be a running enmity, this battle between the forces of Satan and the Christ. Now you get a little glimpse of that as you come up through the Old Testament. Everything that God put in place to bring about the coming of the Messiah, Satan did everything to destroy and disrupt. Now, right off the bat, you come into the line of Cain and Abel. Abel is the one who is in the line of the seed of the woman. What does Satan prompt? Cain to murder him. I imagine Satan thought he had already won it. But you see, God in his sovereignty came back with a replacement for Abel in the man Seth. You come on up into Israel's secular history as a nation, and it was to be through the nation of Israel that the seed of the woman would come. And how many times did Satan almost succeed in destroying the nation of Israel? Oh, he came so close. But the sovereign God made sure that he did not succeed. Then you come to the birth of Christ, and when the wise men went to the King Herod, inquiring the whereabouts of the one that had been born King of the Jews, what does Herod immediately do? Out of jealousy and envy, he put out a decree to put to death all the Jew baby boys under the age of 2. Well, it wasn't just Herod, but rather the satanic effort again to destroy the seed of the woman. So beware of that as you study your Bible, that the powers of Satan are constantly hindering the work of God. But also remember that God foretold that it would be that way. Then you go a little further and God actually foretells the crucifixion. Not as crucifixion itself, but rather by the language he's referring to it in Genesis chapter 15. Genesis chapter 15 says, It, in other words, the seed of the woman, shall bruise thy head, and thou, Satan, shall bruise his heel. Now, when did all that take place? At Calvary. At the cross, Satan was defeated. And remember, there's only one way you can put a serpent to death, and that is you attack the head. So that is why the kind of language is used. Christ literally defeated Satan at the cross. He bruised the head of the serpent, but Satan got his licks in also by bruising the heel of Christ, by causing his suffering and all he went through there at the cross. Now let's go on into the following verses, because I want to come on to verse 20 as soon as possible. In verse 16 on down, we have the curse that was brought on the scene when Adam ate. Even as we speak today, the world is in turmoil over the Middle East, and it's been that way since the beginning of the 6,000 years of human history. War, pestilences, catastrophes, and enmity between individuals, nations, and family members. Why? Because of the curse. There's sickness and disease. Why? The curse. Everything that is connected with the world problems all come back to the curse, and you can't escape it. As someone has put it, when Adam was created, he was human, but the moment Adam sinned, the human race became inhuman. Now, that's not original with me, but the moment I read that somewhere in the past, I thought, isn't that exactly the way it is? Can you think of a single species in all of God's creation that will torture members of its own species like man will with man? When you read some of the things that man invents to torture his fellow human, shows mankind is inhuman. Man is a sinful creature and is so prone to think up things that will hurt the other individual. And it's all because of the curse. It's all because of sin.